Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of Dungeons & Dragons using GPT. You know who I am. Well, anyway, we've had quite an adventure in this series, and I did want to point out a very useful tip when using GPT. It does have a tendency to sometimes forget everything that's taken place in the adventure, so it's always worth every once in a while asking ChatGPT to provide a summary of the adventure so far. In that way, it can continue the adventure based on the summary, based on everything that's gone into that summary, and it's not always having to go back to try and figure out what happened 2 weeks ago. Okay, so that's just a tip, just to ensure that as you're playing the game, ChatGPT's got all the information needed based on previous encounters, experiences within the adventure. So you can probably see on my screen, that's exactly what I asked ChatGPT to do for me. So my summary is as follows. The Eye of Fate. You're Alvarin, a half-elf fighter of mixed heritage, strong and resolute, who came to the village of Stablethorn after whispers of dark omens and vanishing travellers reached nearby towns. There, you uncovered a cult devoted not to prophecy, but to erasure. Not anything to do with the 80s band then. Worshippers of the Eye of Fate, a cosmic force that seeks to undo memory, identity, and time itself. You're joined by Sarah, Kaylin, and Halra. You confronted the cultists at a frozen fjord where they attempted to complete a ritual involving 3 seers and a sliver of black ice. The eye began to open. You intervened, defeating the cult leader and disrupting the gate before it could fully form. In the aftermath, you seized the sliver, a shard of unknowable void which connected directly to the eye. Touching it gave you a vision. You saw yourself reflected but altered, used by the eye. The artifact was secured by Sarah and placed under heavy warding. Its influence is restrained for now. Your party uncovered cultist writings that spoke of multiple eye wells across the land. Places where the veil between realities thins. One site was marked on a damaged map, a ruin called Vale Barrow deep within the Duskwind Hills, accessible only through the snow-laced Witch Pine Valley. The cult may attempt another ritual on the coming moon, the new moon, just days away. Rather than retreat, you chose to move swiftly toward the next site, hoping to stop the eye's awakening before it begins again. So that's literally where we're going to pick up the adventure, and you can already see the option that I've typed in, because this is my current status. It's day 6, it's morning, we're traveling through Witch Pine Valley, the sliver's secured by Sarah, and we've got the partial map. We've got our allies. What are we going to do next? Now, normally, that would be a numbered list, so I'm not too sure why that's the case, but I've typed in that we're going to continue to Vale Barrow. So, this is where we pick up the adventure. Let's begin. Right, so I have definitely selected the option to continue to Vale Barrow. So let's see. Ooh, now that's not something I expected. Let's just do a quick retry and see what comes out of that. I have to say, I have noticed that it is running a little slower than usual, but I guess it's very popular. But let's see where the adventure takes us if we continue with the adventure where we've decided that we're going to that particular location. So, yeah. There we go. I was slightly concerned for a moment. I thought it had done something weird. But we seem to be okay. We're now into chapter 4. the journey to Witchpine. You decided not to return to the village. Instead, your companions, loyal, shaken, and inspired, chose to follow you north through Witchpine Valley, aiming to reach Valebarrow before the cult attempts their next ritual on the coming moon. As the snow begins to fall again, you march into the frost-touched trees with sword, staff, bow, and shield. The eye watches you, but so do you. Would you like a visual map, a character recap sheet, or to resume the next encounter on the road? Now, this is interesting because I've not encountered this before. Let's have a look and see what the visual map, oops, let me make sure I spell it properly as well. The visual map tells us about the game. Now, if it's a graphic, you can be sure that ChatGPT is going to take a while in order to produce it. So what I will probably do is pause the recording and pick it up once that image has been generated. So let's try that. Okay, you can see it's produced a rather interesting map, which I kind of like actually. I wasn't even aware of the fact that it could do something like this, but then again, why wouldn't it be able to? So that gives us a nice visual representation of what's gone on so far. So what I think I'll do, I'll resume the next encounter. So I'll just put that in. And then we'll pick up the story. But I do like that map. In fact, I think I'll probably use it as the thumbnail when I post this video on YouTube. So again, we've just got to wait a bit for ChatGPT to pick up. I think it's ready to go now. I can see the microphone icon there. So where's this adventure going to take us? The snows whisper beneath your boots. The sky over Witchpine Valley is pale and heavy, like it's holding its breath. You've left the fjord behind, but the silence follows. You descend a narrow game trail flanked by dark pine trees, their limbs weighed down with frost. Wind moans softly through the branches. The trail bends around boulders and snowdrifts. It's slow going. Kaylin holds up a fist, draws her sword in silence. Sarah presses 2 fingers to her temple. Movement ahead, small, fast. Might be scouts, not human. You crouch at a snowy ridge overlooking a ruined watchtower, half buried in ice. Smoke curls from something below. A low campfire. You spot 2 hunched goblin forms warming hands near a flame. One carries a black inked tattoo on his neck, the same mark as the eye cult. Ooh. A third shape, larger, lurks near the base of the tower. You catch only a glint of metal and the edge of a fur cloak. They haven't seen you. What do? Sneak closer, ready an ambush, step out and speak, send Kaylin and Sarah ahead, retreat. I'm going to sneak closer, so I'm going to select option 1. There's every chance that we might be able to hear something, find out what's going on, without having to just rush in and start, killing people, which is not necessarily something that we want to do. So let's see what happens. You raise your hands, signaling silence. Snow muffles every step as you draw low, shield on your back, weight shifting across half-frozen moss. You edge closer toward the ruined tower and the campfire's thin smoke. So we've got to roll stealth. So you roll 2 d20s. And I take the lower of the 2 scores. So I've got a 5 there. Roll again. Oh, and I've got an 18. So I'll take the 5. So it does add the modifier. Okay. Once you roll, I'll reveal what you see and whether they notice you. So I rolled a 5, so I'm going to put that in, see how that affects anything. Let's see what we see. Oops. It's definitely thinking about it. I'm actually quite nervous. What are we going to see? So, with my modifier, I get 6. You move low, but not low enough. Oh dear. Chainmail clinks softly, a whisper of metal that might have passed unnoticed if not for the sudden crack of a frozen branch beneath your boot. From the fire, one goblin's head snaps up. Did you hear that? The larger shape of the tower turns fully, revealing a half-ogre, cloaked in spiked leathers and marked with the same cult sigils. Its one good eye narrows. Blades out, we're not alone. Combat begins immediately. 2 goblin scouts, stealth trained, short bows, 1 half-ogre cultist brute, great club, frost resistance. They spread out, 1 goblin dashing into cover, the other notching an arrow. The brute begins charging toward the ridge where you crouch. So, we've got to roll another d20 for initiative with a dexterity modifier to be added. I roll a 10, so if I put that in, you'll see what happens there. The eye may no longer, whoops-a-daisy, the eye may no longer see you, but its servant still strikes. So the dice rolls have not been that fortunate for us. So we are in battle yet again. Hopefully we'll be able to survive it though. I think we probably will, but let's see. So it's still thinking about it. Okay, here we go. You tighten your grip on your sword as snow kicks up around you. The half-ogre, that's supposed to say, is going to do something. We don't know what yet. There we go. The half-ogre roars, a deep guttural sound that echoes off the valley walls. Arrows whistle past trees. Battle is joined. There's our initiative order. Kaelin, Goblin, Alvaran, yep, battlefield. You're near a ridge of snowy rocks like cover. The ogre is 30 feet away, charging uphill, so we've got the high ground. 1 goblin scout is off to your right in partial cover, another is at the fire backing toward the tower. Your allies are split across light cover and trees. What do you do? Charge the ogre, throw a javelin or ranged weapon, move to cover and ready an action, engage a goblin, command an ally, or coordinate with Kaelin. 30 feet away, charging uphill, off to your right in partial cover. Command an ally. I'm going to coordinate so we don't mess things up here. It's always good to get yourself organized if you're in a battle, because we want to make sure that we're always successful. So I'm coordinating. That's what I'm going for. Sorry, let me just, while we're waiting, let me just readjust the position of this microphone slightly. Slightly struggling between this and the keyboard. Anyway. We've got something. You glance across the ridge to Kaelin, already halfway up a snowy birch, bow drawn and scanning the goblins below. I'm waiting. You speak just loud enough for her to hear over the wind. Focus fire on the goblin flanking right. I'll draw the ogre's attention. She nods once, her voice low and precise. Consider him skewered. So it's a coordinated strike. Because you're forfeiting your action to coordinate, Galen gains advantage on her next attack against Goblin A. You also shift to intercept the ogre, placing yourself directly in its path, sword drawn, shield ready. Halra growls, "You want the brute? Don't get killed before I join you." Up next, Goblin Scout B looses an arrow at Sarah, misses. Halra barrels up beside you, greatsword glowing faintly with runes. Half ogre brute roars and charges straight toward you. Ogre attack is that, bludgeoning. The great club slams into your shield, splinters fly, you're knocked back but still standing. HP check. Please confirm your HP before and after taking 12 damage. Okay, well, I probably need reminding of my HP. What's my current HP? Because I'd actually forgotten. I know my hit points had been brought back to their original levels because I'd rested in the previous adventure. So I'm actually just checking what my HP is, and then I'll just subtract 12 from it. But that's quite a hit, I expect. So I was at full health. Okay. So, thank you for that. So I'm going to HP is 40. So 40 now 28. And I'm going to strike back at Ogre. Yeah, I knew my HP had been revived back to what it was before, but I just didn't remember what it was. If we can get this battle out of the way, then I think that'll probably be it. You stagger, boots skidding in the snow, but your shield holds. You plant your back foot pivot with practiced rage and strike out at the towering half-ogre, aiming straight for the exposed ribs beneath his patchwork armor. Attack action. Strike back at the half-ogre. Roll a d20. 7 modifier. What do I get? I roll a 13. So, that's probably a very good hit. If you hit... Oh, it's gone up. If you hit, I'll calculate damage based on your weapon. The time for silence has passed. This is Steele's answer. So definitely slowing up the battle though. ChatGPT running so very slowly. So as expected, it's a hit. The blade drives hard into the ogre's side, past thick hide and bone-sewn leathers. It grunts in surprise, the impact knocking it slightly off balance as steam rises from its blood in the cold air. You're wielding a long sword, assumed one-handed with shield. Roll a d8. So let me get my d8, which is this one here. I've rolled a 6. So that's going to be useful. Because it's magic. So we've got some additional damage, which is great. So I think I'll just actually wait till we take out this ogre, because this is really a much shorter session. So what have we come up with? The use of our magic sword. So, your blade slices into the ogre's side, just beneath the ribs. A hiss of pain escapes its cracked lips, and it reels backward 2 steps. Black blood hits the snow. The ogre is now bloodied and favouring its left side. Kaelin from the trees looses her arrow with your earlier coordination. It's a hit. Goblin A drops instantly with a shocked grunt. Sarah begins chanting behind you, arcane wind swirling. Halra roars and moves to flank the ogre beside you. It's now the top of the next round. Would you press the attack on the ogre? Absolutely. That's what I'm going to do. Focus on getting that ogre out of the battlefield. So important to do that, I think. And we'll see what becomes of it. Again, going very slowly. With Kaelin's arrow finding its mark and Halra sweeping in beside you, you see the brute's focus break. The timing is perfect. You surge forwards, shield raised, and strike again, aiming for the same wounded side where your blade bit deep moments ago. So if we roll another d20, what are we going to get? We get a 13. So I suspect that's the end of the ogre. Oh, I've got to roll it twice. I've got advantage. I doubt that I'm going to get... Oh, I rolled a 20, actually, so I can take the higher of the two. That's a perfect score, so I suspect that is the end of the ogre. As it says, its breath is ragged. One more strike could bring it to its knees. I think we've got the ogre. Critical hit. You catch the brute mid-turn, your blade arcs up in a brilliant flash of steel and snow. Slamming straight through a gap in its shoulder guard, the sound is like cracking ice. The brute drops to one knee stunned, blood streaming against the snow. Roll a d8 twice for your longsword. Let's have a look. So we've got an 8. And we've got a 6, which is 14. So this is the final blow, I think. That's the end of that. Steel remembers what the eye tried to forget. But it does tell us something about the importance of having a magic sword. Very useful. And I have to say, this battle was a lot more successful than the previous one, where I rolled some terrible die. Anyway, let's see what GPT comes up with. The half-ogre brute is defeated, as totally expected. Let's get the details though. Your blade slams into the brute's chest, deep and final, its eyes widen, and for a breath it looks almost grateful to fall. It topples backward into the snow, the echo of its collapse rippling down the valley like thunder muffled by frost. So, Goblin A Scout defeated by Kaelin, half-ogre brute defeated by my character. Goblin Scout B throws down bow, flees into the trees as expected. Halra exhales deeply. That's the second brute you've dropped this week. Kaelin from the tree, I'd wager 3 if you'd count that one from the mine. Sarah kneels beside the fallen brute, pressing fingers to the black tattoo. These marks, they're changing. So what have we got from this? 23 silver, 4 gold, a cultist medallion, a fragmented map with the red circle marked E3. Sarah believes it's connected to the eye wells. A sealed letter in black wax. Sarah pockets it for translation. Should we burn the bodies, rest briefly and check the map fragment, question Sarah about the medallion's change, let Kaylin track the fleeing goblin. The fleeing goblin. Let's rest. Or maybe we should track the goblin because they're bound to run off and try and get help. So we'll see what happens as a result of selecting that option, but like I said, I think this is probably the point where we're going to stop for the day. So we'll just very quickly take a look at this result and then I'll call it. Because we've been going for just over 20 minutes or so. It's a much shorter session this week. So what have we got? It's thinking about it. You step to the tree line and where Kaylin crouches, eyes still fixed on the treetop horizon. Snow clings to her cloak. Her bow still drawn. She speaks before you do. He's fast, but not careful. Blood on the brush. Broken pace. He'll lead me straight back to whatever they're hiding. She lowers She lowers the bow slightly and turns to you. You want me to follow him alone or send Halra with me? I move quieter, but she makes things messier for them. So I think this is probably where I'm going to stop, because I've started coughing as well. Ooh. So we'll definitely pick up the adventure from here next time, but for now, for me, it's bye-bye.